Most people think men want compliments about their looks. They don't. In fact, the compliments men can't resist have almost nothing to do with appearance, and everything to do with identity. Because when you compliment a man the right way, you don't boost his ego, you earn his attention. You make him feel respected. You make him feel valued, and most importantly, you make him feel chosen. Today, we're uncovering the 5 compliments men secretly remember long after the conversation ends. Most people assume men are motivated by admiration for how they look or by constant verbal reassurance. But beneath confidence, humor, and strength, what most men crave far more than surface praise is respect. Respect speaks to a man's sense of worth in a way compliments about appearance never can. It tells him that he is trusted, capable, and valued for who he is rather than how he presents himself. Surface praise is easy. Saying someone looks good, sounds impressive, or seems charming requires little emotional awareness. Respect, on the other hand, is felt when a man believes his judgment matters, when you acknowledge his decision, making, his problem, solving, or his reliability, you affirm something deeper. You are saying, without spelling it out, I see you as someone who can handle life. For many men, that recognition is profoundly attractive because it aligns with how they want to show up in the world. Respect also validates effort. Men are often raised to believe their value is tied to usefulness, what they provide, fix, or protect. When respect is present, it communicates appreciation even when outcomes aren't perfect. A man who hears, I trust how you handled that, or I appreciate the way you thought that through, feels recognized not just for success, but for intention. That kind of acknowledgement lowers defensiveness and builds emotional safety. There is also a critical difference between being admired and being respected. Admiration can feel fleeting and conditional. It often depends on performance, charm, or external results. Respect, however, feels stable. It signals that even in moments of disagreement, his perspective is taken seriously. When a man feels respected, he doesn't feel the need to prove himself constantly. He can relax into authenticity instead of posturing. Respect is especially powerful because it touches a man's identity. Many men quietly fear being seen as inadequate, replaceable, or unnecessary. Surface praise doesn't address that fear. It often skims past it. Respect confronts it directly. When you show respect, you are communicating trust. Trust says, I believe in your competence. And competence is central to how many men measure their worth. This is why criticism without respect cuts so deeply. When disagreements turn into dismissal, sarcasm, or belittling, a man doesn't just hear disapproval. He hears rejection of his value. Over time, this erodes connection. Conversely, when feedback is paired with respect, even difficult conversations become bonding moments. Respect keeps a man emotionally engaged instead of shutting down or pulling away. Another overlooked aspect of respect is autonomy. Men often feel respected when their independence is honored. Allowing space for their decisions, passions, and personal growth signals confidence in them. It says, I don't need to control you to feel secure. That message is incredibly grounding and often strengthens attraction rather than weakening it. Ultimately, respect is not about submission or silence. It is about acknowledgement. It's about recognizing a man as a capable individual whose thoughts, efforts, and intentions matter. When men feel respected, they are more open, more generous, and more emotionally present. They don't just feel admired, they feel chosen. Surface praise may catch attention, but respect earns loyalty, and for many men, feeling respected is not just desirable, it is essential. We live in a world that celebrates outcomes. Wins are applauded, success is rewarded, and results are treated as proof of worth. In that environment, it's easy to assume that praise should follow achievement, but for many men, the compliments that truly matter aren't tied to the finish line. They're tied to the effort it took to get there. Effort-based compliments reach a place that result-based praise often misses, because they recognize the human behind the performance. From an early age, many men learn that approval comes only after success. You're praised when you win, when you fix the problem, when you provide the solution. Over time, this creates a quiet pressure to always deliver. When praise only appears after results, failure or struggle can feel like personal inadequacy. Effort-based compliments interrupt this pattern. They say, "You matter even when the outcome isn't perfect." And that message can be deeply relieving. Acknowledging effort tells a man that his intentions are seen, saying something like, "I know how much thought you put into that," or "I can see how hard you're trying," validates the process, not just the payoff. It recognizes persistence, discipline, and care qualities that often go unnoticed because they don't always produce immediate, visible success. For many men, hearing that their effort is recognized feels like being understood rather than evaluated. Effort-based compliments also build emotional safety. When a man believes he is only valued for results, he may hide uncertainty, stress, or self-doubt. Admitting struggle can feel risky if it threatens his sense of worth. But when effort is appreciated, vulnerability becomes safer. He doesn't have to pretend he has everything under control. He can show up honestly, knowing that trying is enough to be respected. There's also a powerful motivational effect at play. Result-based praise can be energizing in the short term, but it often creates pressure to keep performing at the same level. Effort-based compliments, on the other hand, encourage consistency and growth. They reinforce behaviors that lead to long-term progress, even when progress is slow. When a man feels encouraged for showing up, he's more likely to keep going, even through setbacks. Another reason effort-based compliments matter is that they humanize success. Results are often influenced by factors beyond control, timing, resources, or circumstances. Effort is personal. It reflects choice, commitment, and resilience. When you compliment effort, you are acknowledging something that truly belongs to him. That acknowledgement feels fair and authentic rather than conditional. In relationships, this distinction can be transformative. When a partner only praises outcomes, a man may feel like a tool rather than a teammate. But when effort is noticed, he feels like his contribution matters regardless of immediate success. This fosters partnership instead of performance. It communicates, "We're in this together," rather than "I value you when you deliver." Ultimately, effort-based compliments speak to a deeper truth. Worth is not measured solely by results. They remind men that trying, learning, and persisting are valuable in themselves. In a world that often rewards only the visible win, recognizing effort can feel rare and profoundly meaningful. Results may impress, but effort connects. And for many men, connection is what keeps them engaged, motivated, and emotionally present long after the applause fades. At a deeper level, most men are not just seeking approval or admiration. They are seeking significance. They want to know that their presence matters, that who they are and how they show up has a real effect on someone's life. This is why impact-focused compliments create a level of intimacy that surface praise never can. They connect a man's actions and presence directly to how someone else feels, and that connection is powerful. Impact-focused compliments answer an unspoken question many men carry. Do I make a difference? When you say something like, "I feel calmer when I'm with you," or "You make hard days easier for me," you are not praising a trait in isolation. You are showing him the emotional imprint he leaves behind. That kind of feedback doesn't just feel good. It feels meaningful. It tells him that his existence has value beyond performance or appearance. Unlike general compliments, impact-focused ones are personal and experiential. They come from lived moments, not abstract observations. Saying "you're kind" is nice, but saying "the way you listened to me last night made me feel understood" is intimate. It places him inside your emotional world. He's no longer being observed from the outside, he's being invited into your inner experience. That invitation is what builds closeness. These compliments also encourage emotional presence. When a man understands the positive effect he has, he becomes more intentional about how he shows up. Not because he feels pressured, but because he feels connected. Knowing that his patience, steadiness, or humor eases someone else's stress gives purpose to those qualities. Purpose deepens engagement. It makes him want to be more present, not less. Impact-focused compliments are especially powerful because they bypass ego and go straight to the heart. They are not about status or superiority. They are about contribution. Many men are conditioned to believe their value lies in what they provide materially or solve practically. Impact-focused compliments expand that definition. They highlight emotional contribution, which is often overlooked but deeply fulfilling. There is also vulnerability on both sides of these compliments. To express impact, you have to reveal how someone affects you emotionally. That requires openness and honesty. This mutual vulnerability creates a feedback loop of trust. He feels trusted with your feelings, and you feel safer expressing them. Over time, this exchange strengthens emotional intimacy in a way that praise alone never could. Another reason these compliments are so bonding is that they affirm consistency. Impact is rarely created in a single dramatic moment. It's built through repeated, reliable behavior. When you acknowledge impact, you are recognizing a pattern, not a performance. You are saying, "This is who you are to me over time." That sense of continuity makes a man feel anchored in the relationship. Ultimately, impact-focused compliments remind men that they are not just noticed, but felt. They are not just admired, but needed. This distinction matters. Feeling admired can boost confidence, but feeling impactful builds connection. It creates a sense of shared emotional reality. When a man knows that his presence genuinely improves someone's life, he doesn't pull away. He leans in because intimacy grows where significance is felt, and impact-focused compliments make that significance unmistakably clear. At the core of emotional attachment is not just feeling accepted for who you are, but feeling believed in for who you are becoming. For many men, this belief is profoundly powerful. It speaks to their future, their growth, and their capacity to evolve. When someone expresses belief in a man's potential, it doesn't just flatter him in the present, it invests in his journey. That investment creates a deep and lasting emotional bond. Belief in potential communicates faith beyond current circumstances. It says, "I see more in you than what's visible right now." This can be especially meaningful during moments of uncertainty or transition, when a man may be questioning his direction or progress. Hearing that someone believes in his ability to grow reassures him that he is not defined by temporary limitations or setbacks. That reassurance can feel grounding and motivating at the same time. Unlike praise for achievements, belief in potential is future-oriented. It doesn't depend on what he has already done, but on what he is capable of doing. This distinction matters because many men carry internal pressure to prove themselves. When belief is offered without conditions, it relieves that pressure. It creates a sense of partnership rather than evaluation. He feels supported, not measured. This kind of belief also strengthens emotional safety. When a man knows that someone believes in him even when he's still figuring things out, he's more likely to open up about doubts, fears, and aspirations. He doesn't have to present a polished version of himself. He can share the unfinished parts. That openness deepens attachment because intimacy grows where imperfection is allowed. Belief in potential is also empowering because it aligns with identity. Men often define themselves by their trajectory, where they're headed, not just where they are. When you acknowledge that trajectory, you validate his sense of purpose. Statements like, "I believe you're capable of building something meaningful," or "I trust the direction you're moving in," reinforce his internal drive. They remind him that his efforts are leading somewhere, even if the destination isn't fully clear yet. There is also a quiet responsibility that comes with being believed in. When someone expresses genuine faith in a man's potential, it can inspire him to rise toward that vision. Not out of obligation, but out of alignment. He wants to become the person you already see. This creates a positive feedback loop where belief fuels growth, and growth strengthens connection. However, belief in potential is most powerful when it's realistic and grounded. It's not about blind optimism or ignoring challenges. It's about acknowledging obstacles while still expressing confidence in his ability to navigate them. This balance makes the belief feel authentic rather than pressuring. It communicates respect for his autonomy and resilience. Ultimately, belief in a man's potential tells him that he is not alone in his future. It says, "I'm with you as you grow." That message fosters emotional attachment because it blends hope with trust. It transforms connection from something static into something evolving. When a man feels believed in, he doesn't just feel supported, he feels chosen for the long term. And that sense of being chosen, not just for who he is now, but for who he is becoming, is what turns connection into lasting attachment.